Hi, I'm Gerry Stahl, and I'm going to talk about group cognition as a foundation for the learning sciences. So I'm going to start by making a claim that's a little bit controversial, I hope, that all cognition is really group cognition. So I'll talk about it today at three levels: the level of individuals, the level of small groups, and the level of larger communities. So group cognition exists at the individual level because as individuals, we talk to ourselves using the language, ideas, perspectives, motivations, and emotions that we've taken from interactions with other people and made them into our own. At the small group level of family, friends, colleagues, schoolmates, etc., we respond within discourse contexts, which we co-construct as a group. And at the community level of practice, such as classrooms, professional communities, and so on, we gradually adopt the community ways of thinking, doing, and so on. And our participation helps to change those communities. So related to that, I want to claim that all learning is social learning. So this also might come as a surprise to people, but it's really an overwhelming conclusion of philosophy, social theory, and social sciences in recent decades and recent centuries. But it's not well understood within the field of the learning sciences, or CSCL, because those fields are founded upon the traditional disciplines of education, psychology, and computer science, which are not basically socially oriented. So this is starting to change now in the literature of the learning sciences and CSCL. But it's often not clear, especially to new students and practitioners. And that's what I want to address in this video. So as I mentioned, there are three levels of analysis that are really important in CSCL, in my opinion. The individual level, that's the traditional one, in which everything usually gets reduced to that level. But Vygotsky's important book, Mind and Society, showed that even individual cognition is really social. And ever since Lev and Wenger's book, Situated Learning, people have recognized that learning can be analyzed as the movement of individuals into communities. So it can be analyzed at the community level. But that still leaves the small group unit in between the individual and the community level. And the small group unit is what mediates between those two levels and is really where the action is in learning, at least in my opinion and in my data. But this level has just not been studied very much. And when I recognized that, I decided to focus my own research exclusively at first on this level of the group cognition. So what I propose is that it's often fruitful to analyze cognition on multiple levels, and that the processes at the different levels work together. The learning sciences really need methods for analyzing cognitive processes at these different levels, at the individual, the small group, and the community cognitive levels. Now, group cognition does not mean some kind of group mind, or some mystical thing at work, but just that there are interactions of the students in the group. It means that the analysis of many cognitive achievements, especially in CSCL settings, may be most productively conducted at the group unit of analysis in terms of the interactions among people. And that's what I mean by group cognition. And I want to claim that group cognition is foundational to the learning sciences, and that CSCL research can provide a foundational role within the learning sciences. That CSCL is not a small subdiscipline within learning, but it's really a foundational part of it. So as I said, the learning sciences have traditionally been dominated by the theories and methods from psychology and education, which focus on the individual. But I call this the ideology of individualism. I think it's something that we have to get beyond. And current theory in the social sciences strongly suggests that this is true, that all learning is social and not to be reduced to the individual level. So I think that it's important to identify processes at the different levels, learning processes that are going on. And as I say, I believe that the small group level has been really under-researched as a phenomenon in their own right. And I think CSCL can change that. So CSCL has grown up with the opportunities provided by computers and networking and the internet and social media. So these are new opportunities for supporting collaborative learning. And there are also new opportunities for studying collaborative learning. And by studying collaborative learning in these CSCL settings, we can learn about learning in general. So, for instance, in my own research in the Virtual Math Teams project, we manipulate conditions surrounding collaborative learning, such as curricular resources. And then we can observe the co-construction of knowledge in the discourse of the group and automatically capture that digitally from the networked computers of the students. So we can observe how students gradually and interactively become part of an effective collaborative small group. We can observe changes in their ways of talking, arguing, negotiating, and reasoning, changes that take place through their collaborative experiences. And we can see how it is that group agency guides the selection of problems and opportunities that their groups address. And we can see how group memory makes their past group experiences relevant to their current discourse. So the mechanisms of group learning become visible in this data. They're not just hypotheses of some hidden and invisible individual mental phenomena. So to take an example from the Virtual Math Teams project, we give the students math problems. And these problems, since they come from the discipline of mathematics, they bridge across these cognitive levels. They typically introduce content, definitions, elements, procedures, principles, practices, proposals from the cultural traditions of mathematics and from school curriculum at the institutional and community level. And in doing that, they elicit or recall or stimulate individual cognitive responses from the individual level, memory, skills, and knowledge, calculations, and deductions. But then it's up to the group interaction at the group cognition level to bring these elements together, to organize the individual contributions as they unfold in the interaction in order to achieve the goals called for by the community institutional level. In this way, the group interaction plays a central role in the multi-level cognition, interpreting, enacting, and integrating elements from the other levels. So mechanisms like co-attention, intersubjectivity, meaning-making, shared understanding, and in general being there together are important mechanisms at the middle group cognition level.